Hello, beautiful Aries. It's time for your weekly reading. This one is for the 16th to a week later of August 2021, whatever the heck date that is. It'll be posted on here, so we will know at that time. You'll be able to see it. That's how organized I am this morning. It's quite early and dark, and I found this deck of tarot cards that's been kicking around for years. I used to use these all the time, and I haven't in a while, so I'm not really that familiar with them anymore, but maybe it'll be like an old friend, and suddenly the recognition will kick in quite beautifully. So I'm going to do a 12-card reading for you today, and we're going to see where your week is going, what's happening with you. I'm also Aries, if you don't know that. So I'm very excited about this reading and about all our Aries stuff that makes us so interesting and fantastic and a little bit crazy at times, which is part of our charm, I might add. We're fiery. Fiery things can sometimes burn out of control a little bit, right? Okay, let's check it out. What is that? I can't even see this morning. Oh, it's the King of Wands. Okay. I thought it was the Devil for a minute, which shows how fabulous my eyesight is. Okay. You can definitely relate to that thing right now. Seeing some serious wands for us wands type people. Oh, there are a couple pentacles. Okay. So let's see what we've got here. So we start out with the King of Wands, Aries. So this could be you. If you're a male, I'm going to guess that it probably is you. Although usually I sort of think of the King of Wands as being, or the kings in general, as being, you know, say over 40 typically, up to whenever. However, a younger guy could be very accomplished, and then sometimes the perception of him will be a king. Sometimes it can be a female if you're, you know, having a lot of the traits of somebody who kind of runs things that are traditionally male, you know, like a business, having kind of domain over a lot of people, that sort of thing. I always like to mention that the genders in tarot are a bit malleable, and this is not some modern stance. It's always been like that. It's more about the role than necessarily the sex. But traditionally, typically, male figures will be male and female figures will be female, you know, a good portion of the time. That's not necessarily true with pages. Pages represent children and young people, so you can't even look at the page and really tell what the sex is 90% of the time on most of the cards. So pages are a bit more, it could go either way. Like, because they're, you know, they're kids, and kids are not so concerned with that kind of thing anyway. So, I mean, not to say that they don't have a gender. Don't think I'm going along with the common vernacular that we have to believe this, that, and the other thing. I mean, you can believe whatever the heck you want. I'm just telling you my stance about it as was always related to tarot. So here we are. So the King of Wands. Now this could be a different fire sign. It could be Sagittarius, Leo, or Aries. But I'm just going to guess that if you're a male or somebody in this sort of position, it's going to be you. So this is a figure that is very action oriented. This is you. You're action. You're fire. You're always wanting to do things and put things into practice. And I find that for me, I sometimes think that when I'm trying to do a lot of things, and maybe sometimes I'm neglecting some of the things that I want to do. And, you know, we tend to, we fire signs tend to want to do so many things. We're all full of these ideas and we want to put them all into action. But there are only so many hours in the day. And sometimes if you're not doing the thing that you're really passionate about, you really feel like you're compelled to do it and put it into action. And I do find that sometimes this guy pops up to kind of help us and give us the power to do that. We also have the Knight of Wands right here. So he's another powerful. Now this could also be you, my darling Aries. If you're a male sort of in your prime of life, I'm going to say, 25 to 40-ish. Typically, I mean, the ages are not exact either. Once in a while, somebody will be such a youthful character that they'll be represented by a page when they're old. That is not typical, but it does happen if somebody is so youthful in everything about them. It happens. I'd like to say it would happen for me because I always think of myself as being kind of childlike, but honestly, I am more represented by the Queen of Wands or some other cards in the deck. So, if you are a female, we don't have our Queen of Wands here. So if you are a female, perhaps, one of these cards represent you, and your card won't always show up. I mean, you could be a female with one of these guys, that you could be with. Now remember, they're Sagittarius, Leo, or Aries. Oh, the idea of, I'm Aries, and the idea of having an Aries man is just like the most fantastic idea ever, because I don't think any other sign could ever understand me the way another Aries could. Yes, there might be some fireworks in the house, but I think they'd be really positive fireworks generally. So, I've been lusting after an Aries man my whole life. Probably never going to have one, but I love the idea of it. So, I'm going to say if you're a guy, you're definitely one of these. If you're female, you could be one of these, but you could also be with one of these fabulous characters. I keep saying fabulous. My 50-cent cocktail word for the day. So here we have Judgment, a complicated card. Judgment is so many things. I always say it can be a reminder that we are more than just our mortal bodies, and to just sort of think of your spiritual side and how you connect to that. I'm not trying to push anybody into a religion or anything here, just the fact that we are so much more than we sort of often consider ourselves, and our power is incredibly great. It's also a transformative card. It's the way things were, they're not going to be like that anymore. You're going to transform. You're on a journey in life, and you will, it's not to say your personality is going to totally change, but you're going to have changes and things that affect you. And when that happens, you'll evolve, and you'll get stronger and better, and learn more and understand more things. And that's a very exciting process. And sometimes you will feel literally more stuff kick in, like more understanding of life, more understanding of people, more understanding of things. When you go through different stages, it's just like, boom, all of a sudden you'll have this greater understanding, and then all of a sudden more things open up. It's such an interesting feeling, and maybe you've experienced a lot of this already. If you're super young, maybe you haven't, but if not, you definitely will. And it just shows how powerful we are. The other thing judgment can mean is actual judgment. Something is judging you, some entity, somebody, some person, or you're judging something else. Now, a lot of people say we're not supposed to judge. I would disagree with that wholeheartedly. I think we should be spending our every minute making judgments and evaluating situations and people and everything else. Judging is how we negotiate our world. So it depends on what we're talking about when we're talking about judging. To not judge anything in life would be ridiculous. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. We have, where I am, not right where I am, but where I live, there are brush fires. So even though they're, I don't know how many hundreds, or I don't know how far away they are, but they're far away. They're not, within, 1 hour of driving or anything like that. But it is surprisingly smoky out there, and I have been so affected by it. It's kind of hilarious, actually, because I sound like death all the time. Although if you know me, you know that I do have allergies and stuff, and I tend to cough anyway now and again. But it's been kind of rough. So this is, it looks like the Knight of Pentacles. Oh, you've got some people here. I like a reading with lots of people in it. So the Knight of Pentacles, again, somebody probably during the... Oh, you know what? I did not get into this enough. Oh, sorry. I'm just going to backtrack here for a second. So the King of Pentacles is... Or not Pentacles. The King of Wands. The King of Wands is very good at decision making, very decisive, very strong, powerful, good at uh, organizing and directing people. He can often be the head of a corporation or the head of various groups. He can be a very strong head of a family, very strong. And these fire signs tend to be very gregarious people. So they like to talk. They like to talk about, what they're doing, what they're enacting. They like to get in there and do physical things and make things happen physically, which is always very exciting. And then, of course, we've got the Knight of Pentacles. Now, he is, in the prime of conquering, the world. And I don't want to say learning like he's really, childlike or anything, but I mean, we're lifelong learners if we're on the right track. So he is learning and developing all kinds of skills to get here at some point in life. And, he's brave, he's strong, he's powerful, very, very fiery character and a very exciting character. So if you know this person, this is a fantastic person to know and to have around if you want to build something or create something or do anything socially. This is your man. Then we have the Knight of Pentacles. Did I say Pentacles? Yes, it is Pentacles. I see the sword and get confused, but yes, he's got a great big old pentacle there. So yes, so the Knight of Pentacles is a little different than, say, this guy who's a fire knight and he rushes into battle and he's, really assertive in every way, aggressive even. This guy is more slow moving, kind of stoic, kind of plodding, plodding, perhaps plotting with T's also, because he does plan. He likes to plan his actions. He likes to get there in a very concise and well-planned way. He is patient. He is good at investing in things, whether it's time, people, money, all of that. He is willing to do things that stand the test of time, but he's still a very brave knight and bold in a different way than this guy. But if this is a person in your life, he's going to be a Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo. And so think about that. Maybe this is your dude if you're Aries and you've got a guy in your life. Oh, it doesn't have to be a love relationship. These people could be your father, your brother, your best friend, whomever you have a close relationship with, or who's going to play out this week, right? So you think about that. And then we've got the Hanged Man. Okay, so the Hanged Man, they call it the Hanging Man on this card. This is about a couple of things. And I'm going to put him over here with Judgment because it's about going within, finding your inner wisdom, tapping into that inner wisdom, just like some other cards have that same meaning or similar meaning. But it can also be about self-sacrifice. You're doing something for others. You are, sometimes it means that you're kind of hanging in the balance, like you're not able to do something you want to do for a reason and you're trying to figure it out. And you have to maybe take some steps before you can get there. Maybe part of that is the going within. The going within is sometimes the self-evaluation takes a little bit of time. Maybe you don't have whatever it currently takes to do something you want to do. Maybe it's putting the thing into action. Maybe you're trying to start a business and you really are kind of lost about how to go about it, and so you have to figure some stuff out. Or maybe it's about you want to pursue a person and you're just not ready, or you're not sure about them, or a million things. Because it's a general reading, it's going to be different for each and every one of you. So sometimes you just have to go within and find that wisdom. And surprisingly, we are full of it. Like even things where we go, well, I don't know enough about this, that, or the other thing. You might, because a lot of times even what you've seen has transferred into you, and if you really kind of think about it, you'll know more than you think you know, which is very exciting and quite interesting. So then we've got the Ten of Wands, which is a card about being overburdened. Too much to do. We Aries tend to take on too much sometimes. And so if you have too many tasks and you don't have enough hours in the day, I know we like to do everything ourselves and kind of be the star and all of that jazz, but sometimes you have to ask for help. You just have to, or don't take on so much, because you also have to preserve your sanity, which we need for future projects and all the rest of it. So if you're taking on too much, if you're feeling overburdened, sometimes the overburdening can be something other than tasks. It can be too much emotional stuff going on, too much, trauma, or, I don't want to make it sound like it's the worst kind of trauma. It could be, it could just be the stress of life, like seriously building up. And sometimes you have to sort of step back and do that going into yourself. Maybe meditation for some, maybe just taking a little time out for yourself. Very hard for us Aries to do. We like to be going and going and going and going. So, maybe if you're more on the cusp, you're better at this. People who are kind of in the middle of Aries like me, we're not all that great at it. So think about that, and maybe don't work yourself so hard that you're under pressure all the time. We do tend to work fairly well under pressure, and sometimes we need that. Our fiery nature needs things to, challenge us. But, you don't want to have it be so heavy duty that, you're overburdened by stuff. I mean, eliminate some of that if you possibly can. Then we've got Temperance, a card that Aries gets quite regularly because we tend to overdo everything. I'm trying to do a thing right now where I'm not drinking wine like a maniac because it's my favorite thing. And so you guys might have some of those issues. Sometimes with people, it's too much shopping, too much taking on tasks that maybe isn't so good for you because, yeah, we might like our stress, but we can only handle so much like anybody else. Whatever it is for you, too much shopping, too much drug use, too much smoking, too much, it can be substances, but it can be anything that's bad for us. Too much eating, too much, sitting around brooding and not doing the things we need to be doing. That we're kind of like border collies, where if we don't get our action in, we start to lose it. We have to do the physical stuff. Otherwise, it all kind of falls apart for us. So Temperance, think about that. Temperance is also very purifying. When we might be overindulgent people. Now, of course there are exceptions. You might be so on the right track you never do those things. But, maybe for you it just means purification. Maybe you're going to go within and kind of get your thoughts straight. It doesn't mean that everybody is sitting there drinking wine all day. But for those of us who do, it's a good time to purify our minds, our bodies, everything. Go within, think about things, think about your life and how things are progressing, and make it good because, we want it to be as fabulous as it possibly can be. Then we have, now lately I've been getting this card a lot when people get really terrible cards, which is a good sign when you get this card, the Six of Swords, because it's kind of a journeying out of pain a lot of times. So we don't have any of that really heavy-duty pain in this reading. This is not a terrible reading by any stretch of the imagination. But we still always carry some pain with us. I mean, no matter how happy-go-lucky you are, we have our stuff and we have our concerns and our worries and all of those things. So this is a very positive card. It's a card about going on a journey, taking your loved ones with you, a figurative journey often. You don't actually have to be going on a trip. And those swords are still in the boat. So the card can be perceived as you're not letting go of those painful thoughts or feelings or whatever. But I always kind of take this card as that boat is going on a journey, and the journey is to get away from this. Even though it doesn't happen overnight, you're moving on. You're in action. You're not going to let these swords or thoughts that are negative or painful, you're not going to let them stop you, because that is not what you're all about. You're all about action and progress and doing exciting things. So, getting rid of these is very, very good for us. So then let's do the Pentacles here. So we've got the Five of Pentacles, which is a card that can often mean you're very worried about money. It can be a card of poverty. It can often mean that you're just like really worrying about finances. Interestingly enough, the more money people have, the more they tend to get this card. And I think it's because, the bigger amounts of money you're dealing with, and the bigger mortgages and the bigger, obligations and everything else, the bigger the worry that you're not going to be able to meet those obligations. Even with people who make tons of money, quite honestly, get this card a lot. But in the last year and a half, with all these people having job issues and everything else, this card is just coming up an awful lot for people. Maybe, you lost your job in the last year or whatever, or things have been shut down. I know a lot of people in the restaurant industry who've had issues with this. But it is a card also of opportunity. It's a card where if you do feel that your finances are seriously lacking, do something. Look at it. See if you can get a different job. See if you can do an idea of something to do on the side to create some passive income or something. Maybe take on a little bit of a part-time thing if you possibly can, or, just pursue other avenues. Just look into things. Sometimes a simple phone call can change your life, to see if there's a different job that you can do. When I was really young, I saw an ad for learning to be an apartment manager. And my son was really little at the time, and I thought, wow, that would be really cool, because then I could be working from home and not have to be away from him during the day and stuff. And so I called about that course, and I was going to take the course, but then I found an apartment building right in the city that was an older building, and the guy who was running it had not done the greatest job. His mother had been involved in it. It was a beautiful old heritage building, gorgeous building that had been sort of run down and stuff, and some of the tenants were kind of weird and whatever. And I took over that building without that course and made it a very, very successful, beautiful building just by cleaning it up. And my apartment was amazing. I painted every inch of it. I was so happy there. Got to live right downtown for cheap, and get a decent wage and have a lot of freedom and much more time with my kid. And it was just a really positive thing. And then I ended up doing that job for years. Not that one I was only able to do for a couple of years, because unfortunately that guy who hired me ended up dying at a young age, and other people took over and what have you. But I then went to another job and another, and it turned out to be a successful career for a while in my 20s. So it was just a call, just 2 calls, and everything changed, and I didn't have to go into an office and do the drudgery that I absolutely hated anymore. So just throwing that out there. I mean, sometimes it's just a simple phone call, and if you don't get anything out of it, I mean, how much did you lose? 10 minutes of your time? I mean, just open up your mind a little when it comes to this job thing, because especially nowadays, we do not have to be, sorry about the noise, it sounds like a plane, which we have not heard overhead in the longest time ever. I've got my window open and it's pouring rain, it sounds like now. And the loudest airplane in the history of the world. Oh my gosh. Unbelievable. I wonder if it's landing in my yard. Anyway, geez. I'm not going to redo this because I want the original reading, but I cannot get over the noise. I don't know what the heck that was. Maybe it was something else, but it sounded like a plane. We do have an airport not too far away, but it's one that very few planes go to, and they're only small planes, so maybe this one came down really low. I have no idea. Was not expecting that, so my apologies. Okay, so anyway, then we've got the Ace of Pentacles. Now this is exciting because the Ace of Pentacles is an idea, the inception of something you might want to invest in. So it can be that you're investing in a person, like you're doing something for one of your kids, helping them fix up a house they buy or helping them with their business that they start. It could mean that you're going to start a business, that you're going to somehow finally take this idea of yours and put it into action and start a business. Or you're going to do something that could pan out to be some money for you at some point later on. Maybe you're going to just start an online show, or you're going to start writing a book, anything that you're going to put into action that could be an investment. Maybe it's putting away a little bit of money. I mean, it feels kind of pointless nowadays because there's no interest and stuff, but maybe it's something just as simple as putting a few $100s a month away. I mean, I know that sounds like a huge amount for some people, and it can be. Or maybe it's $100 a month, just so at the end of the year you're not scrambling for Christmas or whatever it is, something that just is the little bit of help. Sometimes it might not make a huge difference. It might not rock your world to have $1,200 at the end of the year or whatever, although it could, or it could be the beginning of something bigger. But it creates a habit, and we Aries are not always good at that creating, habits all the time, other than, racing around doing our fiery thing. So I think you have an idea for something financial or some kind of investment. Excuse me. And so whatever it is, put it into action, because something good is going to come of this. I absolutely believe it 100%. Now we're going to get into the really meaty stuff here. Oh, I did Judgment, yes. Okay, so let's get these guys out of the way and go here, because this is some true happiness coming in. This is really kind of, the Ten of Cups is kind of one of the best cards in the deck, and the Four of Wands is also a beautiful, beautiful card. This can mean moving, it can mean marriage, and it can mean a happy home, a truly happy home. It's a card of celebration. It's a card of happiness. It's a beautiful, beautiful card. And I just see it and I think happy home, happy home. There's this celebration and people are coming together, and it's just pure, unadulterated, good stuff. And then you've got the Ten of Cups, which is overflowing passion. Again, happy home, a family, people around you. Just really a happy and beautiful card of love, of peace, of passion, of happiness. Very, very happy life. This is a hell of a good reading, and I'm really happy about it. And I hope you are too, and I hope you have an amazing week ahead, and that I get to talk to you again soon. Take care.